there. My name is Shattuck. I'm the CEO of McMaster Innovation Park.
Well, Ty, thank you very much for this interview. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you today. I just want to get started by giving the audience a sense of what McMaster Innovation Park is, what does it do, and how do you see it fitting into Hamilton's innovation and business ecosystem?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. I've been looking forward to this, so really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I'm sure you've heard that Zen riddle that goes, if a tree fell in the forest, but there was nobody there to hear it, did it make a noise? And so we have a modern take on that that says, if a researcher makes a brilliant discovery, an absolutely brilliant discovery, but if nobody ever hears about that discovery, if that discovery doesn't go towards saving a child's life, towards feeding a village, is that brilliant discovery really a good idea? And if we unpack that riddle, it actually tells you what we do as a research park. So we're a research park, and we're owned by McMaster University, but we're not actually the university. We're a for-profit entity. And our job, in a nutshell, isn't to do the research, but to make sure that the brilliant researchers at McMaster University, that when they make a discovery, that the world hears about it. Um, so we're the guys that make sure when the tree falls in the forest that the world hears about it. And in short, we do that by acting as a bridge between academia and industry. There's a bunch of brilliant people within universities. They're doing amazing research, and there's a big wide world out there, some of which that research has applicability to resolve. And so we act as a bridge. We act as an intermediary. On one end of the bridge is the university, and on the other end is industry. And our job is to be that hybrid zone, so that when there's brilliant ideas or brilliant people in the university that can bring ideas to life, we connect them to industry. Sometimes startups, sometimes large scale companies. But our whole raison d'etre is to bring those brilliant ideas to commercial reality by being that bridge between academia and industry.
So, when you look at the life sciences sector in Hamilton, how would you describe its innovation ecosystem, and who do you see in your position as this bridge between academia and industry as the main players within that innovation ecosystem, and how do you see them interacting and collaborating?
What I would say is on the research side, we're incredibly strong. We've got obviously McMaster University, most research intensive university in the country, brings in more industry led research than any university in the country in absolute dollars, which is phenomenal. But they're not the only one. We have HHS and we have St. Joe's, both research, hospitals onto their own. And keep in mind that research isn't all about in the lab. It's how do we bring it out into the real world. So have the availability of HHS and St. Joe's and the collaboration amongst themselves and with MAC is hugely powerful. And last but not least is Mohawk, also the most research intensive college in the country. And a lot of people get the impression that innovation is all about doing the original discovery. Innovation is actually about bringing that discovery to life, bringing it to practical reality. And Mohawk is phenomenal of that. And so when you combine the university and the college with the teaching hospitals, I think what you see is that we have a great early stage of an ecosystem. So we have the research component to it. We have the ability to teach it teach it to folks and the talent out there that can bring it to life. Where we're not so strong is where are the large life science companies that are out there? Where are the successes? And that is where we're less strong. So we have public sector components, we have research components. Now we need the larger companies. The good news is they're starting to come, and some of we're starting to grow them own. If you look at Fusion Pharmaceuticals, which is here at MIP, that's a great example. It went all the way from inception to where it is today. But we need more of those, and we need bigger of those companies.
Well, you mentioned the fact that more and more bigger companies are being attracted and are coming to show interest in Hamilton. From your perspective, what would you consider Hamilton's top competitive advantages in terms of FDI in general, but also specifically in life sciences compared to other jurisdictions?
When you look at any successful life science ecosystem, at its core sits the research prowess, and so we have that. We have that with the research hospitals. We have that with MAC. We have that with Mohawk. But what else do we have? Well, one of the things is as you move from the spectrum from research into biomanufacturing, um, what other starts to count? What's the availability of logistical services? So the proximity of Hamilton's airport, well, you may not think about it, is absolutely critical to any biomanufacturing strategy. If you think about the COVID vaccines, what we were watching, we weren't watching them do the research. We were watching them put them on the airplanes and ship them all over the world. As you go from research and you goes to the next evolution of biomanufacturing, the availability of logistics is hugely important. The other thing I'm going to tell you is within life sciences, it's the game is won and lost on talent. Talent, talent, talent. That is the name of the game within biotech and life sciences. And I'm going to say that certainly we have, Mac and Mohawk as a source of ongoing talent, but we're also sitting in the GTA. So we have talent throughout the area. 70% of life science people that even work in downtown Toronto, they live in Mississauga, Oakville, and Burlington. So we have close proximity to talent, which is frankly where you win or lose. And then I would say when you look at Hamilton and other areas, it's frankly the availability of land and services, right? Life science ecosystems have to have a place to grow. And some people in Hamilton don't necessarily like me to hear this, but the proximity of Toronto and the proximity of the US border is a huge, huge component. You know, yes, the Hamilton airport's close, but Pearson's there, downtown Toronto's there. With the ongoing LRT, we're going to be able to get from anywhere to Toronto and anywhere in Hamilton. The access to talent and the access to developable land, those are all things that add up to really a great opportunity for investors. And you can almost feel it in these days in the buzz that people have started to notice Hamilton for all of its attributes.
Now, I want to dig into something that you identified as McMaster Innovation Park's core purpose. You said it's raison d'être. Um, it's this interaction between academia and industry. And if you can you take any real world examples in terms of research departments and industry players that you have connected and what the outcomes or how those connections have been structured and what the outcomes have been in terms of real world applications and commercializations of research that's come out of Hamilton and its ecosystem?
That's what we do all day. And so what I would say, you have to understand commercialization is not a direct line. So sometimes the way you bring a technical idea to life is through a startup, right? So we have the Forge, which is McMaster's incubator. We have Innovation Factory, which is the regional innovation center. So quite literally every day, there's companies that are going through there that are coming to life. A case in point is Vox Neuro. Vox Neuro is a medical device. They do EEG readings of the brain, and they do quantitative analysis if you've got concussions or something. So that's a real life example. So they grew up. They were researched in McMaster in conjunction with HSS. They went through the incubation programs at Forge Innovation Factory. They're just in the process of doing a capital raise. So it's a real life example. They reach out to me and other folks, and we connect them to the industry and look for financiers. They have to get a license to use it. So they go to the McMaster Industrial Liaison Office, the tech transfer office, and they do the tech transfer there. They just recently, I'm just thinking it's top of mind because they just got FDA approval for their product. And so they work through our sales and marketing. I think Fusion is a company that's way further along the way. Fusion is a company that started in McMaster with researcher Dr. John Valiant. He came up through the Center for CPDC, and then got custom-made facilities, and then they went public on the NASDAQ. So those are all companies.
Have you seen increased interest or participation from foreign groups or foreign organizations within these programs and within these streams?
Yeah. So here's a little bit of background. So the unrivaled juggernaut within the life science industry is the Boston Cambridge area, right? Um, a little known secret though is they can't, even with the Harvards and the MITs and Boston U and all of that stuff, they there's a lack of talent there. They can't generate enough talent to satisfy the needs anymore. And so there's this global push now to go set up operations in other areas. And that means there's companies. That's why you're seeing a proliferation. It's not just, we're doing great stuff, but you see this global movement. And so you see this happening in the greater Toronto Hamilton area. I talked earlier about talent. Technical talent is one thing that we have lots of. We need more of it. Leadership talent is another. You need people that are as comfortable with a spreadsheet and a pitch book as, as a microscope. And we're slowly building up the availability of leadership talent. What I would see is on a global basis, whether it's from Europe or whether it's from Asia, but primarily from the US, you're seeing Canada, and in particular seeing our region, the greater Toronto Hamilton area, as a source for great talent, which means great opportunity. And we're seeing an increase on that. And I think that's phenomenal. It's really good to see, 10, 15 years ago, trying to get foreign VCs into our area was a challenge. Now they're here. Now they're setting up offices. I would say that you come to Hamilton, we have unrivaled research on par with any other institutions on the planet, the availability of talent, and we have places to grow and a willingness to make it happen. It's a great place to do business and a great place to invest.